Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. This one's actually quite a bumper one if you've missed anything from the world of Everton, which today is just the gift that keeps on giving. Don't worry, because I've got it all for you here in case you've missed it, you've been at work, whatever. I've got the lowdown for you, and it was entertaining to say the least, slightly embarrassing. But it's never dull being an Everton fan. That's the one thing I always say to people. It's never dull. Anyway, we start off with our headline news as always. And our headline news is that Frank Lampard has become a strong candidate for the Everton job. He's got a lot of strong support from members of the Everton board. CEO Denise Barron-Baxendale is understood to be pushing the boardroom. That leaves Lampard as the emerging lead candidate. That's come from Sammy Mokbel of the Daily Mail. This is quite interesting. Obviously, Denise Barron-Baxendale we don't really associate with making footballing decisions at the club, so this is an interesting one. Why she wants Lampard, I don't fully understand. I don't know if personally she should be making footballing decisions, although she is the CEO, I guess. But it'd be nice for someone who's played football, lived in the world of football, to make footballing choices. But if that was the case, half the boardroom would be switched in and out. Yeah, it looks like Lampard might be he's one of the two big favourites. I think from what I've gathered, it's between him and Pereira, who we'll get onto in a bit. I don't particularly like the idea. I'm more along the lines of just give it Duncan Ferguson for 6 months and see what's about, see if Niko Kovac fancies it then or somebody else, or give it to Duncan Ferguson permanently if he shows that he's got the ability in him to do it. But the club clearly are rushing to get a manager sorted, regardless of the fact that while some fans want it, a lot of fans just want the right appointment, even if that means taking your time on the decision. The club seems to be powering ahead. Lampard's one of those ones. I'll take him over the other option. He's the lesser of two evils for me, which is a sad situation in itself, but I know for a fact he's got a lot of Everton fans who are big on him, which is good. He's certainly got more of a support and a fan base in our club and in the fans than Pereira has, so that's something. At least he somewhat unifies the group a little bit better. But yeah, for me it's the lesser of two evils, and I know a couple of others in the same boat, but you're not going to please everybody, are you, with the appointment? It's about pleasing as many as you can. I don't think this does that, but it does it better than the alternative. Obviously, it's worth mentioning as well about Pereira. He was leading candidate as of yesterday. Paul Joyce had tweeted out that Vitor Pereira has emerged as Farhad Moshiri's preferred choice to become the next Everton manager. Pereira had impressed during the interview with Moshiri and is now a leading candidate to replace Rafa Benitez. Since then, though, obviously that news broke last night from Paul Joyce. Then there was graffiti sprayed on Goodison Park in protest of Vitor Pereira last night. It simply read Pereira out, Lampard in. From what it's worth, just to throw my 10 pence in about it, I don't want Pereira. I don't particularly want Lampard. Defacing, if you're going to hang bed sheets up and stuff like that, or flags, I don't mind that because the club can take them down. It's not the end of the world, but to actually go and deface Goodison Park, I think is a really sad situation. This is the second time in, I'm going to say a year, but it's really, in realistic terms, it's about 6 months, because we had the same sort of situation when Rafa Benitez was linked with the job in the summer. This is like the second time in 6 months that we've seen Goodison Park being graffitied. Farhad Moshiri, this should be clear warning bells for you, because the last time you went ahead with an appointment that caused this much outrage, it ended awfully, and we're in the mess we're in now. I'm not one for advocating that either. I don't think we should be, defacing Goodison Park at all. It also sets the sort of thing. I don't want Lampard personally, so you don't speak for the fan base. Whoever's graffiti in the park, you don't speak for the entire fan base. That's just your one opinion. And if everybody was to go and spray paint who they wanted as manager all over Goodison Park, you'd just have the full length of the stadium with like 50 different managers' names in. I don't want him. That doesn't mean I should go grab a spray can and put Lampard, Pereira out, Kovac in. not the way to go dealing about it. Stick a flag that they can take down. They get your message, they can take it down. It's not, defacing the stadium. But that's just my 10 pence worth on it. You guys might disagree, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments down below. But breaking from the protest last night, Sammy Mockbell, also from the Daily Mirror, also put, Vitor Pereira is considering withdrawing from the running of the Everton job following protests. He then went on to say Vitor Pereira has spoken to the Daily Mail and has said that he's sad at the protests from supporters against his appointment. Pereira has also made it clear he's not a representative by an agent but by his lawyer, and applied at the job through Bill Kenwright. So this is supposedly he's come through Bill Kenwright and not Moshiri, even though Moshiri's been the one that's interviewing him in Monaco. I think it's pretty dire that he's had to say he's not through his agent. That means that everybody is aware of the fans' feelings on Kia Zubashan. So if you know that they're that strong that you've got to have a candidate come on and say, by the way, this isn't to do with an agent, again, there should be alarm bells. I don't think they'll take any notice of these alarm bells, but the alarm bells are there, and the club the higher powers that be in the club choosing to ignore them, it's not going to end very well. Leading on from that though, Vitor Pereira's had quite a busy day as he decided to go to Sky Sports News and do an interview there. This is before he's even got the job. We don't know if he's going to get the job, but he decided to go on to Sky Sports anyway and have a conversation. He said, I think that we're enthusiastic about what's being proposed to them. An intense, impressing game with possession. We need to give confidence to these players. They have other candidates. This is the time for decisions. I remember Goodison Park as a fortress. This is what appeals to me. I want that again. He then said, some of the critics don't know me or my CV very well. We've got several titles, but I understand the feeling from supporters because in the last few years they didn't get results. He said, the first time in my managerial career I've seen these sorts of things. My CV speaks for itself. Just to break all that down, I think it's laughable that he said my CV speaks for himself. This is a man who did do well at Porto, but this was going on nearly 10 years ago. Have we not learned our lesson from, hiring managers that were successful a long time ago? Since then, he's had like 6 jobs in 8 years or something like that. It's absolutely mental. He's had a relegation on his CV as well, which isn't brilliant, bearing in mind the situation we're in. So I think he's chatting a lot of, rubbish, I'm going to be frank. But also, how strange and unprofessional of you to go on to Sky Sports and essentially do a 3rd, 4th, 5th interview live on Sky Sports. Whether he thought it was going to get the fans over or not, I think it comes across as quite unprofessional, quite laughable, really, because no other club has had this done to them before. For me, this is a giant red flag. I've bin it off straight away. There's people out there laughing, going, I can't believe this is Everton, what a mess. And he's not helped that at all. He's actually made people go, did you see that fella on Sky do his 4th interview with Sky Sports for the Everton job? Avoid it like the plague now. I think he's gone and really damaged. Well, I'd hope he's damaged his chances, but we don't know what Moshiri is thinking. It could be absolutely anything. Miguel Delaney as well from The Independent has mentioned Frank Lampard as well. Lampard seems to be the next big one after Pereira. He said Everton are set for further talks with Frank Lampard and he's now emerging as the leading candidate. I've said my thoughts on Lampard. I'm not sold on him completely. I hope I'm wrong, and I would obviously back him. And I think fans would back him more than Pereira. It's the lesser of two evils, really, for me and a couple of other people. But I know loads of fans that really want to see Frank Lampard, so we'll have to wait and see how he does. It's a bit hard to judge. Apparently, he's done a lot of stuff in his sabbatical, done a lot of coaching stuff, sort of taught himself. So we'll have to wait and see what he learned during that, and we'll have to judge him if he comes in on the sort of results he gets. I am a bit hesitant and a bit cautious of him, but I'd be loved to be proven wrong. At the end of the day, I'd love for anyone to prove, even if it was Pereira, I'd love for him to prove me wrong. I don't think he will, but I'd love to be proven wrong, because at the end of the day, that means the club does well, which is what we all want. Miguel Delaney also said that Tim Cahill is in line for a football role at Everton. Doesn't say what the football role is. But I don't actually mind this normally. I'm the first one to say, oh, jobs for boys. But Tim Cahill has actually got stuff going on in the Middle East, and he's got stuff going on in Belgium with football. He's done his coaching badges. He seems to really want to get into... I thought he wanted to get into coaching, but I think this will be a bit higher up than coaching. Maybe even the director of football, potentially. And also a little bit of a soft spot, which is the sentiment in me. He's my favourite Everton player ever in my lifetime that I've seen. So there is that. But I actually think that for once, this is a qualified boy that's getting the job. So Everton, we have some transfer news now. Everton are interested in Bayern Munich striker Thomas Muller. Newcastle are also interested. This came from Christian Falk, who does the Bayern Munich stuff. I can't see this happening, in all honesty. I know it'd be a great one. Thomas Muller's a great footballer. Getting on a bit, I think he still could provide a creative flair that we need in this squad. I just don't think it's going to happen, lads, so I wouldn't get too excited about this. Lads and lasses, sorry. I wouldn't get too excited about this. I don't see it happening. I don't see him going to Newcastle either. I thought he would honestly see his career out at Bayern Munich, and I still think he might do. But you never know. David Ornstein has also, from The Athletic, has also came in on the managerial stuff. He said Lampard is still in the frame to become the next Everton manager. A final decision has yet to be made by Fad Mashiri. That Mashiri could decide anything. Nobody can second guess the man. Just to give you a bit of understanding for that. At one point it was nailed on, it was Roberto Martinez, then in hours it broke away, then it was Vitor Pereira, then that broke away, then it was Frank Lampard, that broke away, then it was Wayne Rooney, that broke away. I don't think anybody truly knows what the man is capable of doing. Apparently Kovac was there with a presentation this week, or is going to be. That could be tomorrow, he might change it. I don't think they know what they're doing just yet. I think the media are picking up bits and it's causing a bit of a stir. I just hope he just concentrates and makes the right choice for the club. We've got more transfer news now. Dele Alli said he wants to know what will happen, and who will be the manager of Everton before he says yes, I'm joining. But Dele, my expectation for him is to leave in the final days of the window. That came from Fabrizio Romano. So basically, Dele Alli, a bit like apparently Dominic Calvert-Lewin's doing with whether he leaves in the summer, is looking at it and going, well, it depends who comes in. And what Dele Alli really means is it a man who's going to keep him in the Premier League, or if he goes to Everton, will he be playing Championship football? And is it a man who's going to inspire him or get the best out of him? I don't know what to think about this, because he's obviously not coming to play for the club or the badge. But then, big stars, and I'm not necessarily saying Dele Alli's a big star, but people have, that sort of stature a couple of years ago, he was seen as one of them, do tend to just come to play, for the manager or for the... for example, I think a couple that came under Ancelotti didn't come to play for Everton, they came to play for the manager. That is something that goes into players' minds when they make the decisions. He's not going to want to come and play for... Saying if we got Jose Mourinho, I don't think he'd want to play under Mourinho again, so he probably wouldn't come to us. But I can see why fans are a bit irked about that, because it means that he's not going to be what we want every player to be, which is plays for the badge, plays for the name on the front. But unfortunately, in this modern day and age of football, I don't think you get many players that will do that. David Ornstein also said Everton have had a loan approach for Manchester United's Jesse Lingard rejected this month. Couldn't understand why they've done that. I don't think he's going to get much game time there unless they see us as rivals. But looking at the table, I don't think they need to worry about that. It's a shame because Jesse Lingard was good at West Ham. I think we need a creative midfielder, and he's certainly that. And then finally, guys, we have the news that Ellis Simms has joined Hearts. Edinburgh News said that he was close to joining Hearts on loan, and then Everton officially announced it 27 minutes ago that he's joined Hearts on loan for the rest of the season. Wish him all the best. I thought he was going to go back to Blackpool, clearly not. Hearts is good for him. I believe Benny Beningame is there, so he'll be joining up with him again. And it means he probably won't get much more football this season, so it looks like it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And then depending on what formation we play, Richarlison as well, and then Rondon and maybe Dobbin. But I don't expect to see Ellis Simms in an Everton top for the rest of the season. I think this is good for him though. First team football, he needs that to help his progression. All the best to him. That is everything I've got time for today though, guys. It was a bit of a bumper one. It was lots of news to break down. Give me your thoughts on Vitor Pereira, the whole him going from being a nail on to the graffiti at Goodison Park, leading to him thinking about not taking the job, then deciding to go out on his own and promote himself on Sky Sports while still under review of the club and still under evaluation on whether he should get the manager's job. That's absolutely bizarre to me. That wouldn't happen in normal day-to-day life, and it doesn't tend to happen in football. I can't remember the last time someone did this. Let me know your thoughts on Dele Alli. Would you take him in Everton regardless of the comments? Jesse Lingard, are you a bit devastated about that? Moyes seems to have got the best out of him when he was at West Ham. And let me know if you think Ellis Simms going to Hearts is a great sort of thing for his progression. And finally, let me know, were you Frank Lampard in before or after Vitor Pereira? Are you picking the lesser of two evils like me, or have you always been Frank in? Yeah, don't forget to let me know, Blues, and I'll see you very soon. Stay safe.